Alright, it's the Hawk. Back just in time for yet another shower. It's NWA Power. We've got the second half of the Crockett Cup to watch now, and also the world title will be on the line. And Neidhart will be competing, which is huge for the NWA. They have been hyping this thing up for months, and I am buzzing to see it now. This is going to draw loads of new eyes to the NWA product, and we're finally going to get to see a good match out of Kenzie Paige too. I was so positive in the beginning. Everything was happy for me. But by the end of this video, I reach meltdown levels. This company is the biggest bunch of morons to ever exist. Billy Corgan needs to spend less time polishing his bald head and more time trying to run his wrestling show because the mistakes are completely out of control now. And I am shocked that nobody else in the wrestling world is talking about what happened on this show. It's extremely predatory behaviour, and I will be ranting about what happened at the end of this video. Anyway, we are back at the Crockett Cup, and the only person that the Hawk's interested in seeing is Mike Mondo. I really don't need highlights from last week of the world's two smelliest wrestlers going at it. They open the match action this week too with a chain match. Jay Bradley is jumped by the Wrecking Ball Lazursky. The Wrecking Ball hits a slow motion slam on the ramp and beats his boobs with happiness. The referee demands that they are chained together. Wrecking Ball pulls Bradley into the apron. The Ball hits another slam and now beats his head with happiness. At least someone's getting happiness. This is a horrible start to the show, by the way. Lazursky keeps hitting chain shots to knock Bradley out of the ring. Bradley finally does something on the outside, choking Wrecking Ball on the ropes. Bradley looks exhausted as he starts pulling Wrecking Ball into the post, but comically this causes Bradley to be dragged into the post because Lazursky is very fat. It's clear that the crowd don't want to watch this match. It's two guys who've barely been on TV in months, so why would the crowd care? They get into the ring and Bradley hits a dive on top of the Wrecking Ball and a chair shot. Lazursky kicks out, spraying bad breath everywhere. He fires up and hits a power slam for a 2 count. He keeps going by throwing a chair into Bradley's gut and a world's strongest slam on a chair. He then ends the match with a big splash. Can't really see any benefit in keeping these two guys around. In the back, the Colons are excited about possibly winning the Crockett Cup tonight. They believe that they are the favourites because they have teamed together for so long. So that match will be now Big Talos, who has a big bad leg, and his partner Daisy Kill, and they face the Colons. Despite his injury, Talos keeps powering the Colons down. Talos hopes to end the match with a chokeslam. His partner tells him not to do it. He tries the chokeslam again, but again he still can't manage it. Instead, he slams the two Colons together. The match is interrupted so that Father James Mitchell can say his new faction will set the NWA on fire. Silage Mason has a promo too, and so far it's the highlight of the show. It sounds like he's facing Hammerstone, which is going to be cool. Elsewhere, Knox and Murdoch say they will win the Crockett Cup. What great production by the NWA, interrupting a match with 3 interview segments. We come back to the ring with the Colons winning as they have now taken out the big man's leg. Talos is screwed now, his leg can't even support a scoop slam on a Colon. The smaller Daisy Kill doesn't have a bad leg, but he still is completely useless and the Colons beat him with a backstabber and a diving splash. This show is the cure for insomnia so far. The Slime Balls get a promo where they complain that they won't be the Crockett Cup winners because they keep losing to the Immortals. They swear to get revenge one day. These guys' nappies must be completely filled. Here he is then, Big Hammerstone is wrestling in the NWA. From what I understand, this is just a one-off appearance unfortunately, but I'm actually really interested in seeing these two behemoths clash. This is the sort of wrestling that I grew up with. Massive freaks who can cut blow-filled promos. These two are going to kill each other. Imagine what this match could have been like if they'd have hyped it beforehand. But this is the NWA and that would be expecting too much. That match should be on show 2 in about 5 minutes of your time. Instead, now we've got another Crockett Cup match. Yes, he's here. The one-man roid machine, the leader of the BBW's Bold Boys Wrestling and the next champion of this promotion. Mike freaking Mondo.
What about Mondo?
And his partner Perkslade. Mondo has officially signed a massive money-spinning deal with the NWA, so that is something that they have actually done right. They take on Knox and Murdoch, who of course bring a little person with them, because somebody fucking hates me. Kill these old has-beens, Mondo, get them! Hit them with your massive bold melon head. Look how small he is. I love little roiders, they're so funny. Ugh, he doesn't even start the match. The Country Boys start out well, smashing the mask with the Perk Pop around. Perkslade runs into a big spine buster and Nux has the tag. Murdoch hits a drop toe hold into a Nux elbow. Nux keeps hitting smacks as Billy Corgan brags on commentary about how hot his company is right now. Mondo has had enough and he slips into a mini roid rage and clotheslines Nux from the apron. Yes, get him Mondo, kill this has-been. Mike Mondo hits a teeth-gritting suplex, and it's actually delayed too. That is impressive. The crowd come off their asses to applaud that suplex. This match is interrupted yet again to remind you all that Rhino exists still. He has appeared about a month and a half ago, so I forgive you if you forgot that. Also, Colby Carino, who never seems to do much on this show. He vows to climb out of his dad Paul Carino's shadow. Well, to do that, you have to get booked on the show for a change, bud. Slade and Mondo hit an atomic drop and a bulldog. Come on NWA, do the right thing. Nobody cares about the old men Murdoch on Knox. Slade hits a suplex, which sends Knox out of the ring. Nothing happens. Mondo and Slade keep stomping in the corner and tagging out, and this goes on for a while. The crowd chant BBWs. The commentary team get bored and start talking about how Earl Hebner was in the building earlier. Shame he didn't stick around, but he's probably too famous for this show. Little bit of advice NWA, if you can't show proof of it happening, don't bother mentioning it. Out of nowhere, Knox hits a big crossbody and manages to tag Tobacco Trevor Murdoch. Murdoch hits a big boot and a botched full Nelson slam. Perk Slade tries to fight back, but he gets a sky high. Mondo delays them for a moment, but Knox gets rid of him. And then Knox and Murdoch win with a high-low. I hate this company so damn much. There is no point continuing this tournament because there isn't even a single tag team left in it that I care about. Everybody knows that the man to build this company around is Mike freaking Mondo, not Mike Knox, who hasn't been relevant since 2008. I hope the rest of this tournament is horrendous and all 4 remaining teams just admit that they suck, pull down their nappies and take a dump in the NWA ring in support of Mike Mondo. Whatever, show 2. Hammerstone is very excited to be making his NWA debut. I feel the same way, we really need this after that horrendous first show. But we're going to have to wait for that one, because first, the National Heavyweight title is on the line. The non-binary nightmare Max the Impaler challenges for Big Strong Mims' belt. It doesn't start well for Mims, despite trying to push his belt down Max's throat. They keep clotheslining each other like morons, but are seemingly completely even. Now they take turns no-selling clotheslines. We get a bit of a break now as Max knees Mims out of the ring. Billy Corgan brags that the crowd are always completely silent whenever Max wrestles. God, this guy has to be one of the biggest morons in the wrestling business. That is not a good thing, you bold bastard. The match is interrupted so that EC3 and his pastor can make comments about how bad the colons smell. Back at ringside, and Max has become distracted by a steel chair. Mims jumps Max from behind and sends Max into the pole. The Impaler hits a bat senton as Mims comes into the ring. Max takes too long though on a dive and Mims is able to hit an electric chair drop. That is not the finish. The match continues with Max grabbing a dreadlock and hitting a clothesline. No pin is made, instead Max starts gorming out. Mims takes advantage and hits the big strong slam for the 3. And just like that, Max is done with the NWA. Can't say I'm too bothered. Max hasn't really done anything important in this company in ages and the wrestling has mostly sucked. Max has a look, but wrestling in silence is not a good thing. The writing was on the wall. Some jobbers mock Max, they'll probably be next. The NWA president calls the Paige sisters' dad into his office. I still have no idea why this guy's a character on the show. He isn't a wrestling legend, he's just some guy. I've also heard it's rumoured on NWA forums that this is supposed to be an incest angle. Is it? That would be mad crazy if that's honestly what NWA is going for here. We do need a reason for him getting so much TV time, but I'm not sure that's the correct path to take. This horrible segment goes on for 5 minutes. Basically, they're arguing about how they both run tiny wrestling promotions under the NWA umbrella. Who could this possibly be for? 50 people who attend those shows. Imagine if the WWE did this, having storylines about OVW. The Paige dad is a complete dickhead too. After Tennessee P makes some fairly good points that they just need to get on for the good of the company, the Paige dad says that his 2 sons are goofs and he doesn't like them.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
It feels like this whole segment was done just to waste time. Please end this. Imagine if you were one of his 2 sons and your own dad just called you a dork on TV. Then there's an awkward cut and it ends, meaning we probably have more of this garbage to get through. This would have been more acceptable if it was 2 wrestlers or hot chicks going at it, but what am I supposed to even be watching here? An NPC from Red Dead Redemption and a complete nobody who is possibly into incest? I'll pass. This sucks Sonny Siaki's ass. Finally, something good happens. Carson Drake is trying to buy off a referee. He wants to pay him $500 to go to Billy Corgan and admit that he cost Carson Drake his title. The referee, however, cannot do this, as he wasn't even the referee in that match in the first place.
So that I get another shot.
I can't do that.
Why?
I wasn't the referee.
You all look the same. I don't.
No, I can't do it. I wasn't the referee.
This got a loud beak laugh out of the Hawk. Whoever came up with this segment, more like this one please. In the back, the jobbers are leading Max the Impaler somewhere. Somewhere turns out to be Father James Mitchell, who throws a fireball at Max. Presumably this is how Max gets written off telly. What a bunch of miserable jobbers. Back with Tennessee P. He is now drunk and telling stories about how 90 years ago he wrestled the Great Muta. You can just tell the Paige dad is green with envy. He moves on to talk about how he wrestled Vader at some point. He reveals he was a big superstar back in the day in the NWA and the WCW. News to me. I'd never heard of him before watching this show. He keeps pointing out that the Paige dad has probably never experienced any of that. Despite his bragging, Tennessee P doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. I desperately tried to find something about his matches, but this, what you're looking at on the screen right now, is the best I can do. Big star, Sonny Siaki's ass. Anyway, they literally decide that they must have a drunken fight to solve this conflict. But before that can happen, the two goofball sons take away the Paige dad. Look how small and insignificant he looks. He walks away crying as the Cowboys shout out how worthless he is. This rubbish took up 10 minutes of the entire show, and I've no idea what the point of any of it was. The World Heavyweight Champion Brown makes his 6th monthly appearance. This title reign is an absolute abortion. He's literally never on telly. Can they not afford his appearance fees or something? He cuts the same promo he does every week about how great it is to be the NWA champion. I can't wait for Mondo to take that belt and stick a needle in it. Knox and Murdoch say they will do literally anything to win the Crockett Cup. Anything except diet. Okay, here we go, the match the Hawk's been waiting for. Thrill Billy, Silage Mason taking on the debuting Alex Hammerstone. One of the nicest dudes in wrestling, despite the mohawk. It shocks me that this guy can't get a full-time contract anywhere. Look in this ring at what we're seeing right now. This is what wrestling's supposed to look like. We've got these two guys slumming it in the NWA instead. They look like killers. Wrestling would be so much better if the wrestlers looked like real-life superheroes like these two guys. I'm sure there's some kids who watch this and want to grow up to be like the slime balls. Don't do it. You'll get bullied. And bogeys wiped on you too. The crowd are firmly behind Hammerstone. We start with a test of strength. Thrill Billy thinks he can't win the test, so he throws kicks. The hold isn't released, and Hammer throws him with a German suplex. They smash each other up in the corner for a bit. Hammer comes back again with a back body drop. Thrilly pulls a hilarious face as Hammer smashes him out of the ring. Hammer dives out the ring, and it doesn't look great to be honest, but the crowd aren't put off though. Hammer tries a charge now, but gets dropped into the guardrail and on the ring apron. Thrills keeps winning in the ring by sending Hammer into the corner and nailing a dropkick from behind. Thrillbilly lands 3 charging splashes in a row now. Hammer blocks another one with an enziguri. He looks to fly and hits a massive missile dropkick for a double down. 2 fake Spartan looking individuals interrupt the match to hype their Crockett Cup match. Just go away. EC3 also has a promo, he can go away too. He talks about burning the island of Puerto Rico. Back at ringside and Hammerstone throws Thrilly with an overhead belly to belly to a 2 count. The crowd chant Hammerstone, which distracts him. He isn't strong enough to hit the Nightmare Pendulum and Mason hits a gut wrench powerbomb for a 2. The match slows down because now it's Mason distracted by the crowd. He once again attempts 3 splashes in the corner and he just keeps on going and hits 4 until Hammerstone boots him away. Hammerstone once again looks for the pendulum. He then changes his mind and puts Mason on the top rope. Hammerstone eventually decides on a superplex. No cover is made. He tries his finisher yet again, but he still can't do it. Hammerstone has to dodge the thrill ride, and finally, on the 4th time of asking, he hits the Nightmare Pendulum. An insane show of strength on a man that size. Unfortunately for Hammerstone, he can't win, because Thrill Billy's friends rush the ring. Hammerstone avoids a belt shot behind the ref's back, but can't avoid the smack to the slash zone, and he loses to a roll-up. Yeah, this was really nice, and it's what I've been missing in wrestling. Hammerstone isn't signed, so he was never going to win this one, but he was still protected. I wish Thrilly could have at least won with the thrill ride to at least make him look a bit stronger. He is your guy after all, NWA. I'm feeling a bit more positive now. Let's move on to our 3rd show. Well, hopefully we can get through the Crockett Cup as quickly as possible because it's clearly a crock of shit. The Colons versus EC3 and Pretty Boy Smooth. He's bigger than a shed, and you can park a damn Mustang on his forehead. The Colons are terrified of the skyscraper Pretty Boy Smooth. EC3 gets the crowd to chant lock up, but the Colon won't lock up. Instead they have a lock up while he's on the top and he falls on his face. The Colon wants to make a tag, but the other guy runs away. Gotta love the Sabu armband showing just how long ago this took place before it was released. They shake hands now, but Pretty Boy Smooth still has the advantage. They continue shaking hands with the colon on the mat. This is the most personality that Pretty Boy Smooth has ever shown. EC3 finally has the tag and does a headlock takeover. EC3 now joins him with a crowd chant, and this man should never dance. PB back in like a freight train in the corner. EC3 hits an out of control Fez press. The colons dump in their nappies of fear and hide on the outside. We cut away from that so that Rhino can cut a promo. He says he has the advantage because the 2300 arena is the place where he became hardcore. He promises to be extreme and leave the new heavyweight champion. He didn't mention goring anybody, which is a character development as far as Rhino goes. Back from that, and the colons now have control of EC3. They're working on his arm. It's very boring. Pretty Boy gets the tag and slams the colons together. He also throws his partner into a cutter. EC3 eventually manages to nail a TKO, but the match just continues. The manager threatens to use a steel chair, which causes the referee to eject him from the building. The colons mess up EC3's nutsack and hit a backstabber. The ref turns around and counts to the 3. EC3 is really living up to that 3 with the amount of JOBs he's doing lately. Alex Miserable cuts a promo about how miserable he is, but he seems to be slightly happier to have found some like-minded jobbers in this new faction. Oh no, it's yet another NWA meeting. They're once again hyping a feud between two NWA territories that about 50 people watch. At this point, I am 100% certain that I could write a better show. Kenzie Paige tells her dad that he's a pussy for getting scared of the country people in the last show. Apparently, all these lovable wrestlers are here to do an autograph signing. Appropriately, there isn't a single fan in the building. Kenzie tells them to act more professional. Mims and Thrillbilly argue about who was the greatest national heavyweight champion of all time. They start competing over who can sign autographs quicker. I like what they're doing here. It reminds me of the Matt Hardy MVP feud back in the day. Hopefully they can make these two have some competitions. Isn't it hilarious how these guys all seem to be on every show, but the actual heavyweight champion is literally never on the show? Please end this segment, I am begging you. Tennessee P's TV time has been unbearable the last few months. Thrillbilly brags about beating Alex Hammerstone. This guy gets better every week. He randomly calls out the heavyweight champion Bram, perhaps showing something's going to happen in the future. It does sound like he's getting a title shot down the line too, that's cool. Someone else who's getting a title shot is randomly Colby Carino. He definitely hasn't done anything to earn one. In fact, he's barely been on the show. Good wrestler though, so that should be good. I'll tell you what isn't good though. The next match, which is, oh yeah, it's another crock of shit match as the fake Spartans take on Knox and Murdoch. All 4 of these guys, I just don't want to watch them. I don't care who wins. So I admit I fast forward it. I can't stand these people. The story here is that Trevor Murdoch is getting frustrated and he turns heel. He chokes out Kratos with a jacket. The little person who is supposed to be their manager can't agree with Trevor Murdoch's actions. He tries to drag Murdoch off, who boots him. That was hilarious. I wish I could do that. I can't wait to see a Trevor Murdoch versus Smalls feud. The match seems to have completely stopped, but then Nux also chokes out Smalls. Wow, what a handicap feud that's going to be on the next video. This is given loads of time and is treated like a huge moment within the company. The issue is, what can the NWA gain from this? Smalls isn't going to feud with them. Oh, by the way, Immortals win with a roll-up. What a crock of shit. The Immortals versus the Colons will be the final. Pretty terrible show. But don't worry, my little feathered friends. The Hawk is running a discount today. 4 gut punches for the price of 3. Let's give you that 4th and final knockout. We start with lots of hype for Colby Carino finally stepping up to the man's level. This man is 30, yet they keep talking about how young he is. The world title triple threat opens the show? Well, I guess that's okay, because the big Natty Neidhart match is supposed to be the main event. Rightfully so too, I guess. Colby Carino versus 10 pounds of gravy Rhino versus the champion Bram. Chants of ECW fill the arena. They actually cut away from the world title match to start to recap Knox and Murdoch turning on Eric Smalls. The NWA is completely insane. Knox says that all of his life he has been surrounded by weak, small people. Murdoch says that there's nothing small about them. He's got that right. They feel like they're being held back or something, who cares. Back at ringside, and at least we haven't actually started the match yet. Interestingly, Carino's dad and Rhino himself have both already held this title. Rhino pushes Carino down and asks who's the man. A triple lock-up leads to Carino on his ass again. He does manage to kick Rhino in the back of the head and he brings the fight to Bram. He's getting frustrated as Rhino barges him down again. They keep trying to get rid of Carino so the big boys can play. Carino makes it back to the ring and botches something on Bram before hitting a head scissors. It doesn't help and he's back out the ring again soon after. but he's like a buzzing mosquito and he comes back into the ring for crossbody. Corino and Rhino share a hug as they decide to work together on Bram for a bit. He looks to assist Colby on a dive, but then he turns on him with a clothesline. We end up on the outside where Rhino suplexes Corino on the ramp. Rhino wants to use a chair, but apparently Billy Corgan has introduced DQ rules for this triple threat match. The ECW crowd are livid about this. Corino takes out the big boys with a dive off the steps. A big flip dive out of the ring for Corino is even more effective. Corino is the real threat in this match. He avoids Bram's finisher and rolls him up into a double stomp. Corino hits a standing flip senton with Rhino saving the pin. Bram suggests he's going to dive now and the crowd boo him. Rhino hits him with a middle rope suplex for a 2. Corino instantly double stomps Rhino and sentons Bram for 2 counts on them both. Rhino shuts down Corino's offense for belly to belly. He wants to hit the gore now. Colby blocks the gore though and throws a chair into Rhino's face. No DQ is given and the commentary team are shocked with confusion given what Corgan said about 5 minutes earlier. It's amateur hour as usual. Corino nails a Sabu-inspired moonsault to get a loud Sabu chant. Corino now turns his attention to Bram. He hits him with a Frankensteiner. Bram tries to roll through on the Frankensteiner but keeps botching the pin. This match is not good. Rhino is back in it now with a spinebuster. Corino almost rolls up Rhino from that. Corino busts out some super kicks and knees. He tries a 450 which misses, and there's the gore from Rhino. Rhino is dumb though and he doesn't make a pin. Bram clears him from the ring though and hits a powerbomb to Corino for the 3. The crowd loudly boo. Wow, what a horrible world title match. I can't say I'm not surprised that Bram won, because the other options weren't incredible, but man, we need to get that belt off of Bram. But I'm sure the Natty Neidhart match will be great though, and I am really looking forward to that. But first, unfortunately we have to sit through the Crockett Cup final and an EC3 promo where he apologises for failing in the tournament or something. Carson Drake also admits that he's done chasing his old belt and he's going to move on to something bigger and better. Right, let's get this turd fest finished. The fake Spartan Club, Kratos and Odinson take on the Colons. I don't think I've ever cared so little about a match. Don't care. I just want the Paige versus Natty match. The Spartan crew dominate for ages. It's a bit like the last Cologne match. We do get an early backstabber and that turns the match. Corgan gets bored on commentary and starts bragging about all the ECW originals in attendance tonight. Well, it would have been really nice if we could have actually seen them on camera. Probably best not to mention it if you can't show them. Yet again, unprofessional from the NWA. Little did I know, it was about to get worse. Anyway, the fake Spartans win the match and celebrate with their extra large cup. Then out of the blue, Jim Crockett blasts the Spartans with the... No, he doesn't. But wouldn't that have been great? Okay, yes, on to that big money main event match. Wait, why did the show just end? What? Where's Kenzie Paige versus Natty Neidhart for the women's belt? Where is it? So, as it turns out, Jesus Christ, despite the NWA hyping this match up for months, they have not been allowed to air the footage of the match. Possibly due to Natty being contracted to the WWE. That does it, wrestling is done. Why the fuck did they hype this match up if they weren't going to be able to show anybody the actual match? And yes, it did happen, there's plenty of footage on YouTube, but that's not the point. It was not shown on Power. So WWE haven't let them show their biggest match they made. Why did they let her wrestle on this show? Not gonna lie, this feels incredibly petty. What did the NWA do to them? Not let the WWE use Diet Viscera for a match or something? Why would they do this to the NWA? What reasonable explanation is there? This makes the NWA look really dumb too. Not only that, but it also means that no women appeared across 4 shows. Now you know why they call it the Crockett Cup. People were really looking forward to seeing this women's match. It's reasons like this that the NWA will never be able to advance. Pathetic from both companies. Yes, I don't know the full story yet, but how is nobody talking about this story? Someone needs to do some digging because something is incredibly off here. And no, I don't expect the match to air next week. I've checked with people with inside the company, it's not going to air. They are flat out not allowed to show it. Even when you try to watch a WWE alternative, they still affect the show. Just go away. I wanted to see Neidhart take the Kenzie cutter. I'm done. Fuck both these companies.